I don't think so. Don't push it.
I'd like to call this meeting to order. Stand for the flag salute.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Move to the statement of certification of the meeting.
Certification of meeting has been advertised according to sunshine law.
Roll call.
Mr. Nero. Mr. Zungri. Mrs. Inaugurato.
Here.
Councilman Kennedy. Mr. Conti. Mr. Walsh.
Here.
Mrs. Shore. Here. Mr. Medicini. Mr. Gold.
Here.
Mr. Sanabria.
Here.
Ms. Rico.
Here.
Mr. Harris.
Here.
Mr. DiBiase.
Here.
Mr. Di Lorenzo.
Here.
The approval of minutes for May 11th, 2017. Do I have a motion? So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Mrs. Inaugurato.
Can abstain?
Mr. Walsh.
Yes.
Mrs. Shore.
Yes.
Mr. Bowles. Mr. Sanabria.
Yes.
Ms. Rico.
Yes.
I'd like to make a comment for the chairman and about the passing of Sam Papa, who's a long-term member on this board. And I'd like to take a moment of silence. Thank you. Any correspondence and paying the bills? All business, memorialization of 201 Main Street. Everybody,
701.
I think it's 701.
701, sorry. Everybody received a copy of the resolution in the packet? Any questions?
I move to accept.
I second.
Roll call.
Go ahead. Mrs. Inaugurato.
I'm going to abstain.
Mr. Walsh.
Yes.
Mrs. Shore.
Yes.
Mr. Bowles. Mr. Sanabria.
Yes.
Ms. Rico.
Yes.
Is there any new business? Yes, we have the application before this board. PV 2017-03, 9 Stephen Street, Block 9401, Lot 24, in subdivision.
Madam Chair Lady, I represent the applicant in this matter.
Okay.
Should I proceed?
Yes.
Okay.
Proceed. You did before us many times.
Madam Chair Lady, members of the board, council's name is Robert Gassione, the firm is Gassione and Mocco, 524 Union Avenue in Belleville. I represent the applicant in this matter, Wilson DiChiara, the owner of 9 Stevens Street, which is a through lot that runs from Stevens to Cortland. It's a subdivision application seeking bulk variances and site plan approval. The witnesses you'll hear from are the applicant, Mr. DiChiara, and the planner, Paul Baumann. Mr. DiChiara will give a brief history of the property and discuss what approval he is looking for. Mr. Baumann will also review the history of the site because it's somewhat important and discuss the surrounding area. He will review the variances and explain the reasons that justify the granting of those variances. Mr. DiChiara, want to come forward, please? You have to be sworn in and speak loudly, please. Mr. DiChiara has a little hearing problem, worse than mine.
Okay, sir. Please
raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God?
I do.
Please state your name and address.
Wilson Ichara, 10 Celia Terrace, Belleville, New Jersey.
Thank you.
Mr. DiChiara, are you the owner of 9 Stevens Street in Belleville?
Yes, I am.
And for how long have you owned that property?
25 plus years.
And what did you use it for?
Initially, I was using it to park, I'm an electrical contractor. I was using it to park my trucks at that time.
Okay, Mr. DiChiara is looking at me so he can...
It's okay.
So if you need to speak louder, okay, just speak a little louder, because when looking at me, they may not be hearing everything you're saying.
I've had the property 25 plus years. I was an electrical contractor, and I parked my trucks there when I was using the lot.
And did there come a time when you went for a variance?
Yes.
And what approval did you obtain with regard to this property?
I had a variance to construct 5 townhouses, 3 on Stevens and 2 on Portland.
And is that about 10 years ago that you got that approval?
Approximately, yes.
And just briefly explain to the board why you did not proceed with that approval.
By the time I had gotten the variance, the market had taken the nosedive, and it wasn't really financially reasonable to continue with this.
And what is it you're seeking approval for now on this property?
To build 2 two-family houses, 1 on Stevens, 1 on Portland.
And last time you were unable to proceed with the application. Now do you have a buyer who would buy it if you got this approval?
Yes, I do.
I have no further questions for this witness.
Does anybody have any questions?
Mr. Ballard.
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God?
Yes.
Please state your name and address.
My name is Paul Bauman. Last name is spelled Bauman. My office is located at 5 Norwood Terrace in North Caldwell, New Jersey.
Mr. Bauman, what is your occupation?
I am a licensed professional engineer and a licensed professional planner in the state of New Jersey.
And just give us a benefit of your background with regard to your education.
Yes, I'm a graduate of Newark College of Engineering, which tells you how old I am. It's now part of New Jersey Institute of Technology. I had a 35-year career with Verizon back when it was New Jersey Bell, became Bell Atlantic, then Verizon. I retired from them in 2003. I've had my own business parallel with their occupancy as my employer since 1981. So I've appeared before numerous planning and zoning boards, including Belleville's zoning board. I've not had the privilege of appearing before you as a planning board. I've appeared before several hundred planning boards during my time with Verizon, multi-state, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Delaware, Maryland.
Mr. Bauman, have you been accepted as an expert in the field of planning on each of those occasions?
Yes.
Madam Chairlady, I submit that Mr. Bauman is qualified to testify before this board as an expert in the field of planning.
We'll accept them.
Thank you. Mr. Bauman, would you please review a history of this site?
Yes, as you had heard Mr. Kuchara mention, he's had this property for over 25 years. Since his ownership, he initially had 2 sheds on the site, which he obtained a variance for in 1974 or thereabouts, maybe before that, maybe a little after that. But since 1980, he sought and was granted approval to park trucks on the property. In 2007, he obtained zoning board approval, a use variance to construct 5 townhouses on what was and is still a through lot between Stevens and Cortland. You've heard his explanation of the economic decision to abandon that approval. Now he has found a purchaser, a developer, to build two-family houses, one facing each of those side streets. And so he is looking to obtain that approval, sell the property, and have two new houses developed on those lots.
And is he seeking minor subdivision approval and certain bulk variances in conjunction with that?
Yes, sir.
And would you explain why you think this application merits the approval of the board?
Well, the existing Lot 24 is the largest lot in Block 9401, and the surrounding blocks of 8605, 9302, and 9404. If the board grants the subdivision, there will be two nearly compliant lots. He's about 211 feet short of having two 5,000 square foot lots. Because of the original lot being irregularly shaped, he comes to this board asking for a subdivision that is not perfectly rectangular, cutting the pie in half, if you will, but because there is an oversized width on one property and an undersized width on the other side of the property, he needs some bulk variances from this board. If the board does approve those variances, he still will have two lots, each with more area, lot coverage not being the major factor here, but each of those lots will be larger than any of the surrounding lots within that Block 9401. And it will also be a benefit to the community because it will eliminate two non-conforming sheds on the lot. So for those reasons, there are others, we ask the board to favorably consider the minor subdivision.
Would you? I'm sorry.
I can go over the individual variances per lot if the board wishes that.
If you would, please, Mr. Ballard.
Lot 2401 is the substandard sized lot with 4,789 square feet. Results from the fact that Lot 24, as though I previously described, is a through lot. It cannot be equally divided into two rectangular lots. And as I mentioned before, there's only 211 square feet of area that this particular lot would be missing the 5,000 square foot mark by. But regardless of that fact, it's still superior in size to all the other lots in that block, even if we took it at face value. The lot width is also a factor here because its width is only 40 feet. There are no adjacent vacant pieces of property that can be acquired to make this a compliant 50-foot wide lot. So he's kind of caught between mentions here between the two streets, but this being the smaller of the two lots, we believe is still a reasonable approval for the board to grant. Now there is another one, variance cited in the letter of denial, and I think it was because it was disclosed incorrectly by the surveyor who did the subdivision plat. I believe that there is no maximum lot coverage variance. I believe we hit the mark at 30%, which is the permitted in the zone. However, we can do one of two things. I can go through a rationale for the board to consider approving it, or we can chop off a couple of square feet and make it come in at 29.9% so that the board doesn't have to grant the variance. Leave that to the board to decide how you want it to proceed.
With regard to 2402, any variance request on that property?
Yes, there is a lot depth variance on that lot. And again, it results from the irregular shape of the Stevens Street portion of the original Lot 24. A standard 5,000 square foot lot would need to be 50 by 100. This, having an oversized frontage of 65 feet, can give you that same 5,000 square feet by shortening the depth of the lot. What's required is 100 feet. The average depth, if you take the two side legs to the property, is about 75.8 feet. But if you look at the subdivision plat that is part of this application, you'll notice that that 75.8 feet is not out of character with most of the closest neighboring lots. In fact, it's not out of compliance with the closest, but it's also not out of character with the rest of the block that it's located in. So we believe that the variance can be approved under NJSA 4055D 60A, which covers your jurisdiction as planning board, and under NJSA 40:55-70C2, where the benefit of using the land efficiently outweighs substantially any detriment of granting the variance.
I have no further questions to the witness, Madam Chair.
Anybody have any questions?
Yeah, I think the only question we need is to hear from our engineer as to Mr. Bauman's suggestion on the variance or
Like for the lot coverage?
the minor change, yes.
Well, we're going to require him to put seepage pits in to capture all the drainage from the impervious coverage, so it's going to be handled, so I feel confident that the board can grant them that maximum coverage and,
And grant the variance.
yeah, grant the variance.
The board, have any questions?
If there's no
I have
questions.
just
I'm
question
sorry.
regarding the building, in that there will be, between the two apartments, there will be 6 bedrooms, 3 in each bedroom, correct?
Yes.
And there's parking for 2 cars.
Parking for 4 cars
Oh,
would have to be required. We're not looking for a variance.
okay. I just questioned it.
Yeah,
because
no.
of your plans.
It's compliant with regard to that.
The seepage pits, because I'm not, the seepage pits will be on both lots?
The seepage pit will be as required by Mr. Harris, and we will comply with the request. And if you, in my review of Mr. Di Lorenzo's letter and Mr. Harris's letter, we will comply with that. We understand that it would be subject to that approval.
I understand, but I'd like to know which are the seepage pits in both lots or in one lot?
So it'd be for both lots.
So there will be seepage pits in each?
One each, yeah, one for each
That's
dwelling.
what my question is. My question was on that. You understand why I'm asking, because it's,
No, it's not a shared seepage pit.
that's where I was coming.
Mr. Walsh?
Yes, for the parking, on the plans we got, there was no indication for the other two parking.
It's in the mic.
12 to height.
Can you hear me? Okay. On Stevens Street, I was there today, and parking is very tight. There's parking only on one side, and a lot of the houses don't have driveways. The house on Stevens has a 20-foot setback from the curb.
Excuse me 1 minute.
It's a 20-foot setback from the right-of-way line, so from the curb it would be 30 feet.
Okay. And you'll have a double driveway there?
It has a two-car garage, yes.
I just didn't plan, I'm sorry. If you could answer Mr. Walsh's questions, please.
Yes, sir. Question?
The driveway is going to be a double curb cut?
Yes, yes, it would be a double curb cut. I don't mean to be serving as a witness, I don't think Mr. Baumann heard you, I'm sorry.
Okay, I'm sorry, I'm a little hoarse right now. The allergies. Okay. Now, the two-car garage, one will be for, one space in the garage will be for one apartment, and the other for the other?
Well, the normal practice is you got one space in a garage, and the second occupant, if there is a second car of that apartment, would be behind that car for convenient purposes. They have to move. Normal two-family home, that's the way it works.
Well, with the driveway, you'll be losing 2 parking spaces on the street, right?
Right, you would lose, a 20-foot wide driveway would be one spot,
One spot.
yes.
Anybody else have any questions?
I'd like to do a brief summation if I
We're
could.
going to open it to the public.
I'm sorry, my apologies, I don't know what I was going to
Any members of the public have any comments on this? Not seeing any, we'll continue with your summation.
Thank you. Madam Chair, lady members of the board, this is a through lot from Stevens to Cortland. Obviously, it's a permitted use. If, and I'm sure you all did, look at the map, and you can clearly see that the proposed subdivided lots are the biggest lots basically in the area. There might be one other lot that's bigger than the proposed subdivided lots. Therefore, it's certainly consistent with the neighborhood. Even after the subdivision, it's the largest lot now, even after the subdivision, still larger than most of the other lots. A through lot certainly is not good planning. Subdividing it as the other lots are somewhat consistent with the other lots is better planning. There was a previous approval for 5 units, 5 townhouses. We're now going to 4. So this is actually a reduction from what had previously been approved. There's no land available for my client to purchase additional property to avoid the fact that one of the lots is only 40 feet wide. Should this application be approved, there's plenty of room for landscaping and open space and room for compliance with the parking requirements, and that there will be 4 spaces on the site. It's consistent with and actually better than, in size, the houses in the neighborhood. This is a C2 application where the benefits outweigh the detriment. I understand that my witness said we could reduce to 29.9, and if the board requires that, we will, but as Mr. Herritz indicated, once you put the seepage pit in, we're dealing with a little more than 30% coverage. That's not a lot of coverage. In the township of Belleville, if you look around, you're going to see many, many properties with a lot more than that. So I think the variances, the bulk variances can all be granted in that there is no harm to the intent and purpose of the zone plan, and certainly it's a zoning benefit to subdivide this and put on this property the kind of new 2-family homes that would beautify the area and be consistent with what the homes are like in the area. And I thank the board for your time and attention.
We have one more question, Ms. Short.
To Mr. Herritz, did you receive the grading plan?
No, they usually submit that at a time when they apply for their construction permits.
Okay, I saw it approved prior to the issuance of the...
Yeah, so he'll submit a grading plan with the seepage pits and everything,
Administratively, we'll handle that.
and then I sign off on it, then Frank will issue the construction permits.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Make a motion,
Who seconded? Sit down.
I make a motion to approve the application. I don't believe there are any conditions. Are there conditions?
No, just
Just our
minor
reports.
subdivision and the bulk variances.
Tom, just our reports.
And we'll include
Two reports.
the two reports.
And site plan plans, of course.
Right, right.
Which will
I have
include
that on.
the seepage drainage for both lots.
Yes, that's been,
I
You have
so
a second?
moved.
second.
Second, roll call, Molly.
Mrs. Inalberato,
Yes.
Mr. Walsh,
No.
Mrs. Short,
Yes.
Mr. Bo,
Yes.
Mr. Sanabria,
Yes.
Ms. Rico.
Yes. Motion passes.
Thank you for your time and attention.
I need a motion to adjourn. Mr. Bo, second? Second. All in favor?